like that into the media. It's not easy, but I managed to get, at least a few little reports into the Gazette about that. And Harvey actually did quite a good little article about me and a few other people claiming basically revelatory religious experiences of God. And I just looked at that article again yesterday, just reminding myself of things, that I said back in the early 90s. Be my guest, sir. Take all the photos you want. Take video. Put it on YouTube.
Which church do you belong to, sir?
I used to belong to this one until they kicked me out for complaining about clergy abuse and anti-religious intolerance and bigotry and so on.
Okay.
Which church do you belong to?
The Church of the Blasphemer.
Well, yeah, they're accusing me of blasphemy, actually. Atheist Unitarians are accusing me of violating Canada's blasphemy law. So you can wave it off, but it's a fact, sir. So when I asked this guy which church he belonged to, and you can be quite sure it's the Unitarian Universalist Church, he says the Church of the Blasphemers. And well, you know what? He's actually right. And here's what's incredibly ironic about Unitarian Universalists accusing me of violating Canada's blasphemy law. This is something I haven't mentioned yet in this protest. I've mentioned it plenty of times before. You got someone filming on the other side there, that's fine. Hey, mets ça sur Facebook, Twitter, n'importe quoi. J'ai pas de problème. Tu peux prendre autant de photos que vous voulez, même des vidéos. So I got this guy taking pictures, and je vais te donner l'autre côté. So anyhow, getting back to things, here's what's incredibly ironic, to the point of insanity and ludicrousness and what I call, literally batshit crazy behavior on the part of top-level UUA leaders like Reverend Dr. Peter Morales and Kathleen K. Montgomery, who are the people who were most responsible for hiring Stikeman Elliott barristers and solicitors, a litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, to falsely accuse me of violating Canada's blasphemy law in clergy sex abuse cover-up and denial legal bullying that sought, and as far as I'm concerned still seeks, to conceal such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers from the public. And that is that Unitarians and Universalists were, and to some extent still are, considered to be heretics, blasphemers by mainstream Trinitarian Christians. The Unitarian Church, the Unitarians always have and have done so for centuries, essentially denied the doctrine of the Trinity, very much in the same way that Jehovah's Witnesses deny the doctrine of the Trinity. They claim that they see no evidence for the doctrine of the Trinity, and therefore they were treated as heretics by the mainstream Christian church. And yes, we're going back so many hundreds of years, some of them were jailed, some of them were even burned at the stake and executed in other ways, but certainly a certain number of them were jailed. And some of them really did blaspheme, to be honest. Like, some of them really did say stuff that was, certainly would have been considered outright blasphemy back in the, 1600s and earlier, and even 17 or 1800s. So they really, Unitarians actually in many ways are blasphemers. And even something said today by certain, Unitarian Universalist ministers could be considered a blasphemy by some people. So it's just stunning hypocrisy on the part of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and in particular the atheist leaders, President Morales and Executive Vice President Kathleen K. Montgomery, to falsely accuse me of violating Canada's blasphemy law, because in doing so they totally betrayed the centuries-old tradition of Unitarians and Universalists of opposing blasphemy laws. they've been opposing blasphemy laws for literally centuries because they were persecuted and prosecuted using blasphemy laws and other laws against heresy and so on. So the guy's right. You know, yeah, Church of the Blasphemers. I must mention that on my blog, I think. And of course, he just waved off. You know, when I told him, well, guess what? You know, your religion is accusing me of blasphemy. You know, he dismissed it. You know, he probably finds, you know, one thing is he just might find it sound like so bizarre that he just doesn't believe it. He's in denial. But if he checks his facts, he can determine that this actually did happen. Or he might just not care. There's a whole bunch of Unitarians that they don't give a shit about how hypocritical they are, you know? Because, hey, I guess maybe it's because they're the Church of the Blasphemers, so they don't mind being outrageous hypocrites, you know, most of the time, if not quite continuously. So anyway, this guy's obviously quite proud to be a member of the Church of the Blasphemers, and it's not the Unitarian Church of Montreal specifically he was talking about, because I'm pretty sure is a guy who drove up in a car without a town license plate. So I think I'm going to go have a look and see where he actually did come from. The numbers and letters on the plates were red. Up here in Quebec, they're blue. So I'm really not sure where that car came from. I was hoping he would, like, it's pretty obvious to me that he was almost certainly a Unitarian Universalist, but I was kind of hoping he'd say which specific church he came from, but he obviously didn't want to do that. But I think we're going to actually shut down the video and go have a look at the license plate and take it from there. We're coming up to the end of a half-hour segment of video anyway. We're already up around 24 minutes. There's only about 6 minutes left, and I think I'm going to wrap this up soon. Let's check the time. 10:48. Yeah, see, I normally wrap up the protest around 11 anyway, so there's only about 12 minutes left in terms of protesting, and there's other things happening. There's things I want to do. So I think, yeah, we're going to wrap this up. I would even say now. I think we're just going to call it a day, at least temporarily. So we're going to wrap it up, put away the picket signs, and we shall go have a look at that license plate, see where the guy came from, because I'm curious, and then go have some brunch. So that's it for the 20th of August 2017, the day before the Eye of God scans the United States of America. And by the way, when I say Eye of God, you know, I mean that like in quotation marks. It's not an actual eye, obviously. It's the moon blocking the light of the sun and revealing the corona. But the fact that it looks like an eye is, based on what I've experienced, not an accident. That is essentially, you know, what Christians would call a sign in the heavens. It's a sign of God. It's a symbol of God's attribute of divine omniscience. Unfortunately, I've been treated quite badly by Unitarian Universalists as a result of making that claim. Basically being treated as psychotic and so on, or otherwise severely mentally ill. So that's, you know, that's some of the actions that Montreal Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists more generally have welcomed and nurtured and inspired. You know, basically they just thought it was just fine and dandy that Reverend Ray Drennan and Valmir Bourdon and Frank Green and other leading members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, to say nothing of Unitarian Universalists elsewhere, have, you know, basically treated me as psychotic because I'm claiming a significant revelation of the Creator of the universe. That's it for August 20th of 2017, the day before the symbolic Eye of God scans the United States of America from coast to coast.